Hi everybody, hope you're having a great day and welcome to week 5 of the Health for All Sprint. So last time we talked about defining the hypothesis that you want to test by prototyping your MVP and designing and building a low-cost MVP that is ready for testing. Now that your MVP is up and ready to go, it's time to actually test it on the ground with your users and gain even deeper insight about your users and your solution. You're going to learn about 1. Why testing is so important, 2. The different kinds of tests you can run, and 3. How to best collect, organize, and utilize the feedback that you receive. So we're going to start by first talking about what testing is and why it's so important. If you can recall, the Lean Startup methodology has 3 main components in its cycle: build, measure, and learn. At this point, we're looking into the measure and the learn part of the cycle, which involves testing your hypothesis using the MVP you just built, measuring any results that align with the goal for testing, and developing insights from the feedback that will improve your solution. This stage is important because this is the moment where your solution meets its users, and this interaction, carried out in the right way, will give you a deeper understanding of your users and your design solution that you normally wouldn't get from just thinking or doing online research. So going back on the Lean Startup methodology, now that you have an MVP, hypothesis for testing, and target users, you have to think about what kind of data is relevant to collect in order to indicate whether your hypothesis is right or wrong. After that, the next thing is to think about how to collect this data from your target users. In the booklet, we present you with 3 methods that you're already familiar with, but this time we put it in the context of prototyping. These 3 methods are observation through user testing, user interviews, and questionnaires. You can find out more about each method in detail in the booklet, along with some very useful tips and tricks on how to maximize your effectiveness using each individual method. Now, it's important while collecting feedback to keep in mind how you're going to organize all of this information so you can make sense of it and use it to inform your future design decisions. We'll explore that in your first canvas, the feedback capture grid. While you're organizing all that feedback, some observations may catch your attention, and you might see connections between different thoughts. You'll need to read between the lines and develop insights from your users. There may be important information that your users may not be communicating with you directly or may not even be aware of themselves. The final step is then to turn these insights into actionable steps that improve your solution. You can start by rephrasing the insights in a how might we format and then coming up with ideas. We list a number of techniques and methods for this in the booklet, so make sure you go through it properly. Now, let's move forward and run through the canvases for the week. So again, the feedback capture grid is a tool for you to logically organize all the feedback you get from the testing phase. It's split into 4 quadrants: likes, criticisms, questions, and ideas. The likes quadrant is simply where you note down positive feedback. The criticisms quadrant is where you note down negative feedback and criticisms about your prototype. The questions quadrant is where you note down questions that your users have asked you and also new questions you have for your project. The ideas quadrant is where you note down any ideas that the testing has sparked. By going through this canvas, you can see how the flow of positive and negative feedback can make you ask new questions about your project and come up with new ideas. To make the most out of this canvas, try to make sure that each quadrant has at least a few notes in it. You can fill this in during testing to record feedback, or after testing to organize everything. If you use this during testing, it has the advantage of indicating which quadrant you aren't getting enough information about, and you'll be able to steer an interview or conversation towards this. The final benefit of using this canvas is that you can share it with the rest of your team, and it'll be easier for them to understand everything, even if they weren't the ones who did the testing. The second canvas, Insight Analysis, can guide you in translating your observations into useful ideas. You start with the observation box, and you can fill it in with the collected feedback that's really caught your attention or intrigued you. At this point, you should have a gut feeling of what these observations are telling you about your user or solution. If you can't come up with anything, maybe ask someone else what they think. At this point, your insight is an educated guess, so you could still be wrong, but it's always worth exploring given enough evidence. You then rephrase it using the how might we technique, and then you use your preferred method of coming up with multiple ideas. We list a few of these methods in the booklet. For a quick example of filling this canvas, let's pretend that you've designed a basic website as part of your online service. You observe that users don't visit a specific page of your website. They tell you that they got lost on the website trying to reach that page. Your insight can be that users tend to visit pages that require the least number of clicks. So you rephrase it as, how might we make important pages reachable by a maximum of 3 actions? So you brainstorm with post-its to come up with multiple ideas. So guys, that's it for week 5. I hope you learned a lot from it, and I hope you're excited to finally test out your MVP with your users. As always, don't forget to schedule a call with your mentors and your buddy. So good luck for this week's task, and I'll see you again in another video next week.